Welcome back to RetroBytes. Today I want to talk about how we can get Windows 10 to behave on our older machines. Windows XP, Windows 7 quickly coming to end of life, and nobody's going to Windows 8, let's be honest. So now's the time to start getting Windows 10 running on all our old machines. I want to share today some of the tips and tricks I use, tweaks I make to Windows 10 to get it to behave on older hardware, because honestly Windows 10 is a resource hog. It likes to eat up all our system resources with background processes, and that's kind of unnecessary. So today I'm going to show how we can turn off some of those things, and might even take it all the way down to like a DOS throwback, where when we boot up the machine we just land at a command prompt. So stick around if you're interested in seeing that. Alright, so here we are at our Windows desktop. This is the Goodwill gaming PC that I've been showing in recent weeks. This is a Core 2 Duo system. It's set to set up like I got it from Goodwill, so the base frequency is 2.8 gigahertz, and it's running the old spinning hard drive, so I figured this will be a good candidate for some benchmark runs to see how much more responsive we can make Windows 10. So the first thing I want to do is enable automatic login. I really dislike having to enter my username and password on machines that I'm the only person that's ever going to use it, so I'm just going to turn that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the Windows key and then hit R, and this will open up the run dialog, and then I'm going to type in control user passwords 2. So now I can check this box that says users must enter a username and password to use this computer. I'll go ahead and uncheck that, and if you have a password set, it'll prompt you to enter that password twice, and then you're done. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is disable user account control. This is the prompt that pops up when you try to do something as an administrator, and it basically asks you if you're sure. I can't be bothered with that, so I'm going to turn it off. So I'm going to open up the start menu and search for user account. You'll see change user account control settings. So I'm going to open that and slide this down to never notify. And hit OK, and that's done. So someone at Microsoft decided that they didn't like how a clean installation of Windows 10 had basically nothing installed. So they decided to add a feature to automatically download and install a set of applications from the Windows Store. The first time you connect a clean installation of Windows to the internet, a background process called Windows Consumer Features will automatically install things like Candy Crush and Microsoft Office. To prevent this from happening, and even remove a lot of bloatware that's already installed, we're going to leverage some open source scripts by a GitHub user named Sicknex. It's called Windows 10 Debloater. There's a link in the description, or you could just search Google for Windows 10 Debloater. So here it is on GitHub. We're going to select clone or download, and we'll download the zip. So in our downloads folder, we'll extract this. Now here we have the Windows 10 Debloater. I'm going to go into individual scripts, and these are the scripts I'm going to be running to kind of thin down Windows 10. So now I'm going to search for PowerShell on the start menu. I'm going to right click on Windows PowerShell and run it as an administrator. Alright, the first command we're going to run is set execution policy. We're going to set it to unrestricted, and we're going to use a force flag. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to edit the debloat Windows file. This is optional, but for me, I want to be able to still play Xbox games, since I have an Xbox Pass. So I'm going to remove these lines here that uninstall all of the Xbox applications. Leave these here if you're not interested in using Xbox app on your PC. But for me, they gotta go. And then down here, there are some commented out lines. These pound signs mean ignore this line. So I'm going to actually remove the pound sign for Bing weather and for sticky notes because I don't want those. So I'll go ahead and save this file, Control S and close. Next I'm going to change to the directory where our scripts are. So over here I'm going to select this and copy the path with Control C. And then in our PowerShell I'm going to type in CD, a double quote, paste in the path, and then another double quote to close it off. So now we need to rename the file and give it the PS1 extension. So I'll select rename here and then just add .ps1 to the end of the file name. And now we're ready to execute this script. So to do this, I'm just going to start typing in debloat, and then I'm going to hit Tab to complete it, and then just hit Enter. We'll have a warning here. Hit R for run. And now we sit back and wait. So this script is going to try and uninstall a lot of applications that we don't want or need. It'll fail on some, and as those fail, we'll see red. Depending on the version of Windows that you have, this will be more or less successful. For example, in Windows 10 Enterprise, I think this script will run without any errors because you are allowed to uninstall everything with Windows 10 Enterprise, but in Windows 10 Professional, there are some things that you are not allowed to uninstall. Alright, our script is finished. The next one we're going to run is disable Cortana. So I'm going to rename this and give it the .ps1 extension on the end. And then in our PowerShell prompt, I'm just going to start typing disable Cortana and hit Tab. It'll fill it in for me and then hit Enter and R to run. So Cortana is disabled now. I'm going to move on to the next one, which the script is called Protect Privacy. I'm going to do the same thing and add PS1 extension to it. So what this script does is it turns off what Microsoft calls telemetry, which is to say recording how you use your computer and sending it off to a server. There's another type of application that records how you use your computer and sends it off to a server, and that's called spyware. I'm not saying that Windows telemetry is spyware, but Windows telemetry is spyware, so I'm turning it off. I'm going to run this next script called remove bloatware registry keys. What that actually means is that since we've uninstalled all of those applications, there's a lot of registry entries that are left behind now that we can clean up. So I'm just going to add the PS1 extension to that and execute it as well. The next script I want to run is Uninstall Onedrive. Now, it's been my experience that this has limited success, but we'll give it a go anyway. And if we're lucky, what we'll see is this OneDrive icon disappear. Alright, and we can see that OneDrive has been uninstalled. If we look down here, we no longer see OneDrive. Excellent. So that does it for the Windows 10 debloater scripts that I use. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down. The next thing I'm going to address is disk indexing. So the Windows indexing service is a service that catalogs the files on your hard drive. And if you've ever noticed that there's a lot of hard drive utilization going on when you're not using your computer, generally that's the Windows disk indexing service cataloging your drive. So we can turn that off by going into the properties of our hard drive and unchecking this box that says allow files on this drive to have the contents indexed. So once you uncheck that box and then hit apply, it'll cycle through all the files and folders and update the information. There's another way to disable the Windows indexing service, and this actually disables the Windows search feature altogether. And this I would recommend for some more low-powered machines, which really would struggle with Windows 10. So to do that, we're going to hold the Windows key and press R to open the Run dialog. and we're going to open services.msc. Now we're going to search this list for the service called Windows Search. Here it is. So I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to select stop. And then I'm going to change the startup type to disabled. So the last modification I'm going to make to my computer is to get rid of the Windows Explorer shell. So that includes the start menu, the taskbar, the desktop, all of it. I'm going to get rid of all of it, and I'm going to replace it with just a command prompt. So in order to do this, I'm going to hold the Windows key and press R. I'm going to type in regedit. I'm going to navigate to H key local machine, down to software, Microsoft. I'm going to go down to Windows NT. There it is, current version. Now we're looking for WinLogon, sorry. And over here we're going to double click shell. Now I'm going to set this to command.exe, but I also want to pass in a flag that will change the color of the command prompt to be green on black. So that's /t:02. We'll save that. So now when Windows boots up, it should boot straight into a command prompt. Now before we reboot, I'm going to open up Windows Explorer. I'm going to go into C, users, my user folder, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it bin. And inside of bin, I'm going to put shortcuts to all of the applications that I want to be able to launch from a command line. So an example of this would be like Minecraft. So I'm going to create an extra shortcut. I'm going to move it in here into my bin folder, and I'm going to rename this just Minecraft. So this will be the command that I will execute from the command line to open Minecraft. In addition to that, I'm going to want Steam. So on my PC, I have Steam installed in my documents folder, Steam. So I'm going to find steam.exe. I'm going to create a shortcut. I'll move it to the desktop for now. I'm going to go back into my bin folder, put my shortcut there, and I'm going to rename it Steam. So I'm going to pull this shortcut for Google Chrome into my bin directory, and I'm going to rename it Chrome. Alright, in order for Windows to identify these shortcuts as commands, we need to add this directory to our path. So I'm going to copy this path. Next I'm going to go into the control panel. I'm going to find System. I'm going to select Advanced System Settings. I'm going to click Environment Variables. Next, I'm going to select Path and hit Edit. I'm going to add New, and I'm going to paste in the directory. Alright, we're going to hit OK. We'll hit OK, and we'll close everything down and reboot. Alright, we've automatically logged in, and we're at our command prompt. So let's go ahead and try some of the shortcuts that we set up earlier. We'll start with chrome.link, lnk, don't forget the .lnk. And here we get Google Chrome. Now we can still minimize our applications and they'll show up down here. A little glitchy, but it's there. I don't think Chrome likes to be minimized. If you accidentally close all of your programs and you've got nothing open, You can hit Control-Shift-Escape to open up Task Manager. File, run new task, and type command to get back into a command prompt. Let's also try Steam. We can see Steam is opening. Other commands that we can run, we can open up Explorer to get our file browser. We can open the control panel with Control. We can also press Control-Alt-Delete and shut down if we'd like. Well, that's about it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of RetroBytes. Hope you found it useful. Kind of a nostalgic throwback for Windows 10 to make it more like DOS. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a like or share with your friends if you think they'd be interested in doing this as well. And just a quick note that if you want to undo the changes to your machine, all of the commands that I had you run in a run terminal with Windows R can also be run from the command prompt. So you can use that to undo everything that was done. Thanks for watching RetroBytes. Take care.